going down. Second of the day, let's go. If any of you guys have ammo, I can rearm just in case we have any other tanks. Hey there folks, it's me TheTacticalBrit, and the last time I played Hell Let Loose was probably a couple of months ago. My initial experience of Hell Let Loose was a little bit of a mixed bag and something that I feel didn't really constitute towards an enjoyable experience, and I traditionally played Postscriptum from then on out. However, I decided to wait for a little while, and there has been some major updates to Postscriptum and Hell Let Loose in this period of time, and Hell Let Loose today has recently received Update 6, which is one of many of a large number of major overhauls coming to the game. This one specifically focuses on brand new content, and also introduces a brand new overhauled ballistics and hit detection system, which I'm going to be talking about in this video. I'm also going to discuss how my opinions have changed about Hell Let Loose since playing this recent update. So let's start with what's changed, and I'm going to be going over stuff very briefly here. I'll leave a link in the description below to the blog post, but I'm just going to go through relative bullet points of what's happened. So, they've started with a new ballistic system. So for those of you who didn't know, Hell Let Loose actually used a really old system, which was like a hit scan system from the past, where there wasn't really much bullet ballistics, and your bullets sort of traveled in a straight line to your opponents, and it didn't simulate real gunfights in any way, shape, or form. Now there is a ballistic system, so you will have to work with things like bullet velocity, drop, and also ranging and leading your shots over distance, and all of this is now part of the system that exists in Hell Let Loose. And in combination with that, there's also been a redefining of the actual weapon handling a little bit in some places. You'll see more tracers, and also they've actually done an entire ballistic system combined with a latency compensation system, so you shouldn't see any real problems in terms of networking and hit registration, which is great. I've been playing this for a few hours now. I can safely say even on US East servers where my ping is slightly higher, I actually didn't really struggle with any kind of hit reg problems whatsoever, which was really impressive. And they've added all types of spread, recoil, and damage values to these weapons, and they're going to be continuing to redefine and resharpen and redefine everything in that entire category, which is great to see. There is a brand new map, which is Hill 400. It's probably my favorite map in the game so far. Now, my huge complaint of Hell Let Loose in the past is that although it does these sort of replica scale maps of World War II experiences, it doesn't equate to good gameplay, and that's very obvious in a lot of the maps because there's no cover, and it's lots of just open space, and you die very frequently. Hill 400, in my opinion, as well as Utah Beach, which is one of their newer maps, create really great gameplay experiences where you can actually, you know, feel yourself playing skillfully, and that's something that I think is an impressive feat that the game finally has. You can move cover to cover, you can use the terrain to your advantage, and it looks absolutely fantastic. Like, these are some of the most immersive World War II maps I've ever stepped into, so a huge thumbs ups to the guys over at Hell Let Loose. A great accomplishment. These maps look incredible, they play incredible on both modes, and I've really enjoyed them. Utah Beach has also been revisited with over 2,000 extra pieces of micro terrain, so that's things like individual pieces of cover, random vehicles, and, you know, blown up devices here and there, and it looks fantastic, and it feels great too. You know, my huge complaint when I jumped into this game last time is that the vast majority of these maps felt too empty. They had a semi-atmosphere, but they didn't have the gameplay to kick in with it, and that's all there now. There is a new plethora of Recon vehicles, including the Puma and the Greyhound, which are wheeled vehicles and tire vehicles. They are quite weak. I think it takes like typically 1 or 2 bazookas and 1 Panzerschreck to the rear to take these things out. So they are light vehicles, but they do move relatively quickly, and they can pack a punch as well. They've also added the ability to have commander fuel abilities, so the commander can now decide to spawn different vehicles at their HQ at the cost of fuel. So this is effectively a push towards a real-time strategy mechanic in the game, which is something they want emphasis on. The commanders are going to have a strategy element to their role in the game, and they can choose which vehicles they wish to spawn. There's been a few changes to the offensive mode, but the biggest thing I've noticed is that there's been a huge engine upgrade to 4.24, which is a newer version of Unreal Engine 4, which is great to see. There's also been some SFX changes and improvements to performance, as well as loads of fixes on HUD UI, visual elements, customizations, and loads of bug fixes. I think the page is like 2 or 3 pages long with issues that they fixed, and they do have a few issues that they're currently working on. But what's incredible as well is that this is part of an ongoing roadmap, so there is going to be a huge animation overhaul with both first-person and third-person animations in about a month or two. They're also adding entire new maps, including other non-hedge related maps, new weapons, new armored vehicles, new customization options, and continuing to work and polish on the game. And they're definitely looking at adding the Eastern Front as well, which is something that does feature in their roadmap. So really incredible. You know, I'm really impressed with what I've seen in this blog post. I'm really impressed with the roadmap ahead. And individually, you know, as somebody who didn't enjoy Hell Let Loose, you know, a couple of months back, I play Postscriptum avidly. I play Squad. I'm a hardcore shooter guy as far as things go. But this game just didn't sit right with me. The game felt a little bit arcadey in places. It felt like it wasn't very refined in places. But, you know, as with any early access game, you let these things stew for a while and you come back. And, you know, the optimization was very abundant from the get-go. I was getting around 100 and something frames in game, which was really impressive at more or less maximum settings, even whilst recording and streaming. So, you know, huge props to that. And the game just looks great. It feels great. I feel immersed when I play this game. And when you work in a team, and I highly stress this, you know, these games thrive on community servers, be that Postscriptum, Hell Let Loose, Squad, or anything in between. And I was playing with a bunch of community guys who had like a little squad setup going, and it was fantastic. You know, one of the best hardcore shooters experience that I've had in recent weeks, and that includes with games like Postscriptum. So I now really feel like if you buy Hell Let Loose right now, you're getting a really great experience, a really good and solid World War II experience that is continuing to thrive and continuing to grow. There's seemingly something to look forward to every single month, which I think is impressive. I think the upcoming months, including the animation overhaul, will really shove this game into a much better place. The animations are probably one of my only complaints about Hell Let Loose right now, with a few other things here or there, but that's probably a primary concern. And to see that those are already being addressed is great. So it was really impressive for me. You know, I felt like I was diving into, you know, this Hell Let Loose map that was immersive, this gameplay experience that felt better, more refined, gunshots that felt, you know, a bit better. I'd still like to see some more work on sound design, but ultimately, you know, the game just feels so much more complete, so much more in a better place. And I think Hill 400 really represents absolutely everything they're doing with the game in the right direction, you know, pushing the game towards better gameplay experiences versus just realism. You know, Hill 400 feels very realistic, feels very immersive, but with all of that micro terrain that they focus on, and including the micro terrain on Utah Beach, they're truly recognizing that to get a good and enjoyable gameplay experience, you need to make some changes to these maps on the whole. And the ongoing optimization and just general upgrades to Unreal Engine, of course, go a metric mile in improving the system as well. So the fact that we now have a full-on projectile system, a full-on Ballistics 1.0 system, we have a redesign of these maps to make them more gameplay orientated, damage values, and all sorts and everything in between. This has been a huge task for these guys, and I think it's been so successfully done. I'm super excited to see what is on the future road to Hell Let Loose, and I highly suggest if you're somebody like me who didn't quite enjoy the game in the past, try some of the community servers out, download the game again and give the new update a go, and I think you'll be thoroughly impressed as I would with the new content that's available and just the generic feel of the game, certainly heading in the right direction. So folks, that's it from me today at TheTacticalBrit. As always, thank you for watching, and I'll catch you again in another video.